Okay, it is 7 o'clock, so I'll open the August 26th meeting of the Plan Commission. First item is called a roll call.
Adams.
Here.
Bruce.
Here.
Paniro.
Here.
Paulson.
Here.
Shaw.
Here.
Summers.
Here.
And Chair Sonntag is present.
Very good, thank you. First item is the public hearing on the request for a conditional use permit, CUP, for an ancillary retail use of the Madison Liquidators at 3310 Deming Way. Is there anybody here that would like to address the Plan Commission on the public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to the minutes of August 12th. Is there a motion? I guess I don't need a motion, do I? Is there's nobody want to make a change or delete? Okay, I will approve the minutes then of the August 12th minutes. And go to agenda item 1, which is the request for a conditional use permit for the ancillary retail use of the Madison Liquidators. Get some background, Abby?
Sure. For starters, Commissioner Summers is abstaining from this item. This is a request for a conditional use permit in the Airport Road Business Park. CUP requires a public hearing. We held the public hearing and there were no comments. And so the next step is for the Plan Commission to direct staff to compile the materials presented. Those can be items that commissioners wish to ensure are included in the findings of fact, and then to direct staff to bring the findings of fact back for consideration at the September 9th Plan Commission meeting, which is also the meeting where the specific implementation plan will be reviewed.
Okay. So is there a motion?
This is Haniro. I move to direct staff to compile all materials presented to be documented in a report of preliminary recommended findings for consideration along with the specific implementation plan at the September 9th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting.
I'll second that.
Second from Dave. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is the resolution 2025-41-41 to approve a conditional use permit for a medical clinic in the Airport Road Business Park. The recommendation is to approve resolution 25-41. Is there a motion?
This is Paulson. I'll make the motion to approve resolution 25-41.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Can we go to item 3? Return of the lighting, revision of the lighting ordinance. This goes back to the memo dated August 1st, 2025 on this. The recommendation is provide input on lighting zones or any feedback. Does anybody have feedback?
I
Dave.
have some feedback. The nighttime ends at 7 a.m. I was thinking 6 maybe. Seemed like there's a lot of stuff going on at 6 o'clock that as I used to get out of the house before 6, it seemed like 6 would be something that if you were asleep, you wouldn't mind. And if you were awake, you might appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, it bans strobe lights and laser lights. Strobe lights, I didn't see a definition for strobe light. A light on most flashes are considered to be strobe lights. So that would mean that you couldn't take a picture with a camera. That's not what the intent is. I don't know if we can get a definition in there, but obviously we don't want something that is bright, obnoxious and flashing repeatedly. But maybe we could do something for a definition.
Does that ordinance apply just to buildings?
Well, it says anything in the city of Middleton.
Okay,
I know I'm being picky but that's what it says.
Daphne, do you have any comment on that?
I mean, as it's written right now, it would be prohibitive to all, strobe lights, laser, like, as it's written, it's just prohibited. So.
And I can't play with my cat with my laser light pointer, because,
Well,
it's-
this is outdoor lighting, so as
Yeah,
long as it's
well-
indoor, should be fine,
but if,
yeah. Yeah.
it just,
uh-huh.
I understand. And, neon lights, why are we banning neon lights?
That's just how it was written. I believe it's currently in our ordinance as well.
Oh, really?
So we don't turn
Yeah.
into Las Vegas.
Well, I don't want to
I
be
mean,
Las
that's-
Vegas, but,
Yeah, so,
And it's really what's there
yeah.
okay.
for that kind of
I know,
situation.
it makes it all or nothing is much easier. Okay, I'll shut up.
I mean, it is a good point. You can, we can bring up like a certain size, cause a lot of stores will have like the open neon light. It's like,
Right.
maybe a
exactly.
square foot.
And
in
most of those
size,
are
so-
LED these days.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand that, but I worked down on State Street, and a couple doors down was Thatcher Liquor, and it had finally got everything redone in neon, and it's kind of a
Don't-
classic look. Not
Don't
that
we
have-
prohibit flashing of those neon signs? I mean, on and off?
I believe we do have something about flashing light, like,
I know I
certain-
couldn't do it in my store. When I had Subway stores, I had to have a sign that if
Right.
it was on, it was on and
Right.
not flashing.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and then later on, it refers to the spectrum, and, outdoor lights are supposed to be, 3,000 K limit. 3,000 K is pretty warm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would think that we could bump that up a bit. Even 4,000 is not particularly bright. I dabbled in photography and color corrected films for 3,200, which is a tungsten lamp. So I'm just, why 3,000?
3,000, it's just what was recommended from Dark Sky International. And they're pushing towards, just the warmer light.
Yeah,
Which is
and I
better,
understand why
so-
they are, because
Yeah.
they're trying to have something that doesn't scatter like the blues do.
Mhm, mhm.
But I think that we could get up to 3,500 or 4,000 without having too much blue light.
I thought that I saw something that was talking about in 2,400.
I don't recall exactly where 2,400
I'm not
was.
sure where
but-
I'm not sure where I saw that, or maybe when I did some research on it. Because I had looked at that same thing,
Yeah,
and was it 3,000 was the appropriate or not? And I know that lots of communities now are trying to go more to the warmer
right.
lights rather than the bright blue lights. Overall, my feeling about this was a dark sky model. Somebody that knows about that aspect of it knows a lot more about it than I do, and I'm okay with it, and we could try it out. Or do we even have the opportunity to, if someone were, for instance, come to us and say, hey, I want to put up a classic neon light, could we approve it?
As of right now, it's under like the prohibited section, so, we would likely just say, no, it's not allowed, and then what we would have to do is it would have to get like a variance of some sort
I
from the
see.
lighting ordinance.
Yeah,
And
we can
how
we
would
can always
they
do a
prove-
variance.
But what would the hardship be, I guess?
Right, yeah.
So just thinking of a couple local examples, the Stam House has a neon sign. Also Louisiana's right up the street has a small neon sign in their window.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And getting back to the 3,000 K, I just know when I've gone to Menards to try to purchase LED bulbs and what they have for selection. It's
tough,
not
yeah.
like you've got 5 different color temperatures, unless you've got something that has variable color temperature. And so I was just thinking that have something that would go slightly bluer, I would be happy with 3,200. I don't know how other people. And then the last question I had was that there, no wall packs,
Can we get this, you can't cut them off?
I think you need to just get rid of Beckman's and Shelby and Samsung.
When it came to dope, I was quick to export. Never tired of balling, so it's on to the next sport. We Mercedes did, but let's sport. So many cars, DMV.
comply with the provisions of the ordinance. I didn't understand why wall packs were being called out specifically.
Sorry about that. We're working on some issues here.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm patient.
It's
I'm,
worthwhile.
I've enabled a waiting room, so it should, if as people join, they should be added to a waiting room, and then that way we can.
Well,
let-
there's somebody named James Heston who joined, so I would be on the lookout.
I see him.
Anyway, if I could respond or comment on David's questions. These are all good questions. I guess I trust the Dark Skies International. I've had a lot of constituents recommend this particular organization and moving Middleton in this direction, especially since we value our conservancies so much. And so I'm inclined to, unless there's a strong objection, I'm inclined to rely on a template created by people who do this for a living, and recognize that just like our zoning code, updates may become necessary, just because once we start implementing it, that's when a lot of things will come to light. No pun intended. But
Well, okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
I do have one more question, which is back to the color temperature and the 3,000 max, and in contrast to the outdoor active outdoor recreation that allows 5,700. So I get a little. I'm wondering why it's so important to have 3,000 for most things, but for the recreation, we allow that to be much, much bluer. And when we have outdoor activities, those are often lights that are up high and spill and do exactly what we could have the potential for doing what we don't want them to do.
Mhm.
And I think I know the answer for this, but I don't see that argument any better than my argument that I go to Menards and have a hard time finding a variety of color temperature bulbs. If I could go to Menards and I could get something that was fitting into something here without getting to be almost orange, I wouldn't have as much an issue. But now we're going to allow 5,700 because those are the lights that are available for these facilities.
Is that stadium lighting?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, but we're requiring that to point downward.
Well, but everything's being required to be pointed downward.
right?
So why is there a difference for stadium lighting in terms of color temperature versus everything else?
Because it's a sporting event usually.
And
They need light.
Yeah,
And-
I think for certain color temperature, like for sports, and then I know like for I think it's the ANSI, IES, they also have indoor lighting situations, and in like factories and stuff like that, they allow for, those higher lumens just for better accuracy of, what you're seeing and moving about. So in those cases, they do allow for those higher, I think it's Kelvin or, the temperatures.
yeah,
And so that's why I think for sports lighting, they do allow stuff like that. But I mean, this is just, the model ordinance, so we can certainly tinker with those temperatures. And so if you want to,
I
recommend going up to 4,000,
I
that's
just find it a
something we
little
can-
disingenuous that we allow 5,700 for sports, but for everything else, we limit it to 3,000.
Well, I think there's a reason for that. I guess
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it
Well, what's the reason though?
because you need that kind of 5,700 for stadium lighting for.
Why?
So they can see the game, see the
That's
balls, whatever.
brightness.
Pardon?
That's a matter of brightness. That's not a matter of color temperature.
Okay, well, I'm not an expert on that, but. And I have to agree with Randy and Lisa that I'd lean towards, the people that write these things that know about it.
Well, you want my input, so.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I want to go back to, I think, he's made some good points though about the neon lighting. And I think we should consider having the ability to have applicants come to Plan Commission for special approvals for lighting. Whether it be, for the neon lighting, maybe it is for color temperature, I don't know. But I think if we have the ability for them to come to us on a, case-by-case basis, that gives us the flexibility that we need to address some of these issues.
What is our rules on variances?
So, a variance should be based on a hardship, and typically they're reserved for instances like an odd shaped lot or a pre-existing condition or something along those lines, and they shouldn't just be based on, well,
Whim?
yeah.
Okay,
So,
I think that's a reasonable thing
Well,
not to allow, but to allow people to come and to us and
I'm just saying that
request
we're
a
gonna
variance.
require it to be a hardship. It's gonna be hard to say,
Yeah.
I need an LED, I
Right.
need a neon light because it'd be a hardship not to have it.
Yeah, right.
Well, right now, anybody can ask for a variance, whether or not it's a hardship is us for us to determine, right?
the zoning board of appeals would
Yeah.
determine it.
But I guess that's what I was asking. Is there, so this will be can it be written into the ordinance that Plan Commission has the right to review special situations?
Not necessarily as a variance, but just as
Right.
for allowance of,
Allowance for, yeah, variances. I don't know how to
for
say it.
neon lights and for color temperatures over 3,000.
I just say, I wouldn't put that in
That's okay.
but I'd say allow for variances, but I don't mind it going before the zoning board of appeals.
True.
Why break from
Yeah.
our
Yep.
anything else?
Alder Haniro and Commissioner Paulson have their hands
Oh,
raised.
Sure. Let's go, Kurt Paulson.
Yes, so my question for Daphne would be if the lighting ordinance is considered part of the zoning ordinance, is that correct? Or is it part of the subdivision ordinance?
It's a separate ordinance altogether. It's chapter 33, which is separate from zoning and from subdivision.
Right, so zoning ordinances can require the zoning board of approval, but any other ordinance, we could establish some sort of special permit process or special review process in the ordinance, as long as it's specified ahead of time, that could come to plan commission. Just, we want to make sure not to call it a variance. It's similar to our subdivision ordinance that allows kind of a waiver of some standards upon application to the plan commissions.
Okay, you got that? Okay, Lisa?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm that the lighting ordinance is like the zoning ordinance in that people will be grandfathered in, like the school or anybody who's got athletic fields wouldn't have to, or the neon signs that people have wouldn't have to change immediately. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then also, I did have some comments on the map, the maps that Daphne shared. Daphne, I wonder if you could bring those up. Just with regard to the different lighting zones. So this map shows just the colors are the lighting zones. But we received some comments on 7621 Terrace Avenue, a parcel that is zoned MUD, as is the Little Red Schoolhouse and the skate park. These are showing up as, or the adjacent parcels are showing up, I'm sorry, adjacent to the conservancy are showing up as one level below what they normally would be in the table. But if you look at our zoning map, the Quarry Hill Conservancy is not in a con zoned parcel. It is institutional. And so I'm wondering, are we sticking with the, if you look at the table, the note says anything parcels that are next to a con zoned parcel drop down a level in the lighting district or the lighting zone. I'm wondering, is that a hard and fast rule? Because if it is, we should apply it. And therefore, none of the parcels abutting the institutional parcels that make up Quarry Hill Conservancy, and then also some city stuff, none of that should have to be downgraded. Same thing with the airport, actually. The airport is adjacent to Penny Klein Park, but Penny Klein Park is not a conservancy, it's a park. So I just want to make sure I understand how we are defining the parcels that need to be downgraded a zone because they're contiguous with conservancy zoned lands. Is that conservancy the zoning district, or is that conservancy like there's an area there that we want to make sure is protected from bright lights?
Yeah, that was a great question, Lisa. And the standard that I used for making this map was actually first using our zoning districts, but then I also looked at our conservancy lands plan, which does identify Quarry Hill, and there's like a sliver of Penny Klein Park that is identified in the conservancy lands plan as conservancy. And so because there's that sliver, I just, pulled it over that area. And so that was the area that became this, dark blue color. And so then that was also because most of this area that we're looking at here is in a PUD zoning anyway. And so in order to find where the conservancies were notified in, the PUD, and then also just overall that our staff and our conservancy staff is taking care of. So I looked at that plan as well to determine, which parcels were this LZ0 designation.
Okay, then it might be better to specify something besides con zoning as the trigger for being downgraded. just because it makes sense to include conservancy lands that show up in the conservancy lands plan, but not necessarily parks or institutional properties, if that makes sense. And then also I noted, and I think Daphne, you saw my comment earlier, that the parcels on Allen Boulevard adjacent to Mary Jacobson Conservancy, those should be downgraded as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else? Any other comments? So we were looking for input. Got,
Yeah, it sounds like there's some more things that we should look into, like adding those special approvals into the ordinance. So I think we should maybe hold off on setting that public hearing until I can get that draft in front of you guys first. And then, you know, once we get that drafted, we can set that public hearing afterwards.
is that okay with everyone?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
That's what we'll do. Thank you, one and all. That brings us to the end of the meeting, so I will adjourn at 7:28, looks like.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.